Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So today is Friday, and on Fridays we do florals. Not always, but mostly. And we're going to work on this lovely floral and all these beautiful creams and browns, beiges, little marigold colors. We're using watercolor pencils and watercolor. Maybe a charcoal pencil here and there too. You don't need to use charcoal at all, just watercolor pencils and watercolor. So this is really simple for any skill level. I'm just giving you an idea to do something different, get out of your comfort zone. The beginning of it is mostly abstract, and then we get in semi-abstract when we're drawing these simple shapes of flowers and whatnot. And I go and teach you some techniques to just, you know, these are different things you can do with watercolor. Not everything has to be a perfect picture that's looking right out of a photograph. Also, if you're a Patreon member, you get the extended version, which is a nice little perk. Patreon is a place where people go and get like extra tutorials from here and exclusive tutorials. We have a live stream in the top tier. We have a Facebook group where we share pictures, weekly challenges, monthly giveaways. You can find all the information out in the link in the description box below. Just click the word show more and you'll see it. It drops down and you can click on the link if you want to join. And you can cancel in anytime as well. So, without further ado, let's get painting this fun little semi-abstract tutorial. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm going to go over my supplies, and of course they're always in the description box. This is a 12-inch by 18-inch block by Fabriano. This is the 100% cotton. It's the bright white. I got it when it was on sale. It's really big and it's fun to work big. If you've never tried it, try it. I have a couple of tutorials already here. I'm really on this large size. We'll be using watercolor paints. I might throw in my charcoal pencil because it's mostly watercolor, but we can throw in some watercolor with some pencils. We have watercolor pencils here from Karen Desch. So it could be mostly watercolor, but throw in a couple other things, pencil, whatever. We're going to play around with abstract. And this is really kind of an intuitive type of painting. Therapeutic, art therapy is abstract for me. So obviously we're in the fall season. My intention was to do some kind of like just background wash of kind of fall type colors, and then go in and draw in maybe like a vase with some flowers, or it could be objects, it could be whatever. And then you can go in and play around with adding in flowers that are abstract too. It's kind of a combination of a couple of things. And this is really going to take people out of their comfort zone, but it makes it, it's the whole point. It's to try new things, right? So you don't have to be intimidated with this. You can just start wet on dry. You could get it wet if you want with a sponge, if you want to do that initially. But I kind of just like to go organically. And since it's fall, I'll be using some fall type of colors. I have yellow ochre here. I'm going to grab my burnt sienna. It's hiding somewhere over here. We have burnt umber. So cadmium red light. All these colors help, but we want this background to be kind of fairly light. So, and the consistency can start off with yellow ochre. I'm using a 1-inch flat wash brush. I actually might want to use a bigger one. I can use my 2-inch. Get in here, get it really wet, grab some of this paint. The 2-inch is going to help a lot. Get it so. Now I'm going to go in here and grab a little Paynes gray, a little burnt umber on the corner of my brush. I'm going to do some ultramarine blue. I am going to put some more water on this because I want it to be lighter. What's beautiful about having a block is that you don't have to worry about stretching the paper this large. I'm going to grab some more gray. So I'm doing this, you know, grayish bluish tones. You can make them brighter. There's the red. Right now, it's always good to clean up the brush every now and then because some of the colors just keep blending and bleeding and being kind of messy. There's the Paynes gray. Like that. I'm gonna grab some ultramarine blue. It's still very, very wet, so I'm going to lift some of the paint off. Getting my red, cadmium red light. And we can start to play with moving the paint around now that it's kind of sit down there. See, there's a big puddle kind of happening here. I do want to lift that it's all very damp now. We can kind of bleed color into color. And I'll talk about that in a second. So a little thicker the paint, right? You can kind of bleed it too. Maybe grab some cadmium red light, mixing with the yellow ochre. We can kind of just put some paint up here. It can bleed. It's a little thick, so it's not going to bleed as much. Again, I do want to keep it light, so I'm going to add some. Look at that. Now I'm moving it. You can spray it to move it too. The spray bottle. It will move. Cascading down. Yeah. So burnt umber, I'm going to mix in with this. A little brown. Then I'll grab some Paynes gray. All this fun stuff. Mixing in all these colors. Moving them around. Look at that, just moving the paper around. You can see it's very wet, so they're all kind of mixing and moving. I'm tilting it every which way in Sunday. Don't like that this color is just kind of sitting here. I'm adding some yellow in here. It's not really moving much. You can play now with a paper towel or a sea sponge, kind of lifting and moving the color. That's another technique I like to use. So you're just twisting it, and it creates a nice fun texture. So much water here, so it's kind of nice. And then we've got that lighter color now happening. I don't want to go shh. You could do that. It's just like this twisting kind of. See, you get this kind of funky looking texture here. I don't know how I got it here and here. So again, you can just see I'm twisting that paper towel. It creates a kind of like scrunch it up. Twist, 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 twist. And now we've got this really cool texture. Just by scrunching it. Going like that. Kind of fun. So I might go back and add a little more gray. Kind of happening in here with the little blue. This ultramarine blue. Paynes gray. Kind of like where I would envision like a table to go. And then I'm going to go back in and do this one more time. Kind of move it up in here. It doesn't have to be like that blue. I don't know. I was just playing around with it. I'm going to add some brown. I'm not liking the blue. I did like the gray. I did like the orange. So I'm going to add that back in. Again, it's an intuitive kind of situation. You have to figure out what works best for you. I love to do this crisscrossing kind of situation like this. You don't have to fill the whole paper. Add some more water here. It's going to be pretty wet. I'm getting this all kind of wet for a reason. So I didn't like the blue. I removed it. It's a prerogative. Like I said, this is kind of like intuitive, therapeutic kind of painting. As you're painting, you go and you change. Don't want to edit this stuff out. This is the stuff that you see if you were coming to see me in a workshop or a retreat. That's how my mind works. And now I'm going to switch it up and kind of like do like this kind of movement. Have you ever painted a wall and done this? I have. It's fun. I've done a textured wall in one of my apartments. Okay, now I've got a nice texture. And I can make it a little bit lighter in some areas by removing some of the paint. Don't want to do too much of this. I have a nice cool texture. And now I'm going to let that nice light texture with all those kind of like different, look at all the different tones that are happening here. This little gray kind of splotchy thing, kind of cool. Yeah, I know. Let's try and do some more gray splotchy things. You don't even intend for that to happen, but it happens. Add a little color with the yellow. Tapping. Getting a nice, fun texture. Okay, at this point, we have to let it dry. We cannot longer go any further. Gonna remove some of this color. I'm gonna wait for it to dry, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna draw with watercolor pencils, charcoal, and paint again. So it's all dry now. I'm gonna take some colors from my Caran d'Ache pencils, maybe like black and brown. Sometimes I do edit the video. I went to go show you guys and everything just kind of came out, went all over the place. So we can do like a vase, basically like carve a line here, kind of wiggle it. Little vase here. You can do a tall vase, cylinder. You know, play around with maybe another one here. We're just drawing simple vase shapes. And you could have them to be solid or not. And I think I'm going to put another like kind of like weird kind of pokey one here. You can always slow this video down to see what I drew. Oh, I don't like odd even numbers. Let's do like a little odd number, like a little small one over here. Kind of poking in the background. And then we can think about our flowers. Kind of go up and bend down. We can have this one be like see-through. So I'm just doing the lines of the stems. Kind of bend. You can kind of do like just wiggle dashy kind of shapes. The bent flower. These are watercolor pencils. This is Caran d'Ache. This is they don't actually have the colors on here. They have numbers. So, well, actually, no, they do. Okay. Never mind. Noir black. Yeah. So, again, you could have some showing, some like simple flower shapes. Here we can kind of just draw out some like circular florals. Thinking of like winter, autumn type flowers. Could be like wheat. Just like that. Bending down, kind of wiggle where the wheat would be. It doesn't have to be so bent down like daisy. Could be any kind of flower, like a half poppy kind of situation. And we're just drawing some of them, right? We can make the little stems kind of crazy, kind of wiggling out. Just like wiggle, kind of like angry. Get all your frustrations out. It's fun. The vases could be just as they are, have more lines, have some kind of designs on them, simple designs if you're going to have any designs at all. This one's clear, so no. Do the back part. And if it's clear again over here. I like the charcoal pencil because it's going to give it a different kind of dimension with when you put the watercolor on it. So I'm going to add some of that. Just wiggling some flowers in the center. So there we have our cool flowers. Right there, it's like just kind of cool. And now you're going to paint around it. Yep, you're going to paint around it. So we can use some oranges, like marigold kind of colors. Paper towel here. Use any kind of brush that works for you. I'll use my Princeton 12 Neptune series. So, got this bright cadmium yellow deep. I'll grab my cadmium red light. It's like a nice yellow marigold color. It's pretty thick right now. We're going to water it down. I'm going to play with some of these colors, these fall colors. Look at that. Just kind of put it in there. Simple. But don't you like how cool that looks? And then we can change, like, use the color to our advantage over here. Again, we can put in the flower, but we can kind of put it around the vase, negative painting around this situation here, right? If you wanted to do something like that, just give it a little more color. I'm going to add a little Paynes gray, like a shadow, just a little one. I'm just playing around with that. I might not do all that. Now, browns, burnt umber, Paynes gray, all this kind of stuff. Kind of putting these colors, just kind of moving them around. You can kind of just play with stems. This is the part of the watercolor that's kind of fun. Or we can just, and we're going to go loosen up, make like a brown blob, and we can add some pencil lines into these. A little Paynes gray, tap in the center. Look how cool that looks. I really love it. So these are color pencil, watercolor pencils. If I just get water on my paintbrush and just kind of move it around, it's going to change the pencil. See? If here's the charcoal, we've done a few of these on my channel. I love the charcoal. I know it's not complete watercolor if you're using charcoal, but hey, we're having fun here. So I add the charcoal, go in here, and this is the part where you get creative. Kind of fill it in, just using water with the charcoal. I completely changed that vase, right? And go in here. But if you have no idea what to do with colored pencils, play with them with your watercolor. So I have all kinds of colored pencils. I could go in and use the colors that match this. Got this nice bright orangey kind of color. Is there like the greens are too bright. There is kind of this, I don't know what you call this. They call this olive green, but it doesn't look olivey to me. Looks too bright. Might go in and add a little bit of green. I really wanted it more orange and browns. And then you can just put water to your brush and kind of move the paint around. Look at that. It's just so much fun to play with your stuff. So yeah, I'm just moving the watercolor around where the pencil was. And it created that shadow kind of situation. Same thing here. These are watercolor pencils, and I'm just kind of getting them wet and then moving it around that vase. Just like so. Now here, that was really bright. I'm going to move that up. I'm just getting these wet. Not really doing anything special. I'm going to go add some of that brown to my wheat. But isn't this sweet little painting? And it's very stylized. You can have really a lot of fun doing something like this. And then from here you can kind of go in and add some watercolor, where you think the shadow would be next to the vase here and here, because obviously the sun's coming from the left. This seems a little bit darker than this side, so we're going to have to fix that. I'm adding a little Paynes gray in here to fix this side to make it make more sense. And I necessarily don't have to have colors in these vases at all. I just thought it'd be fun to play with something like this. Really, this took minimal time to do at all. And so you're keeping in the color scheme. I can add some gray. This is Paynes gray. I don't want to get too many with the blues because I really like the yellow and the browns. But You see where I'm going with this? The shadow. See, pull it down. Pull that shadow. So Paynes gray under here. This one's going to be a darker one. Pull it out. I generally like to take the shadow from the center of your object, your plot, your plant, and then go from there. Yep. And that's our shadow. Add a little brown. That one's got too much pigment on it. Getting the shadow on the side of this bottle. Boom. And this lovely little round type vase. So really that's kind of it. You can just play around with all, add a little more orangey kind of tones. These don't have to be serious. This is more of an abstract floral, having fun. Maybe just get this all wet and loose like this. Put one out here and I'll draw on top of it. You gotta have fun when you're painting. Otherwise, what's the point? Don't make it stressful. Adding a little black in there. And that's that. That's the crux of it all. Depth. You can add yourself. A little deeper color. Value on the right side. But really that's kind of the simple form of like what we're trying to achieve here. I'm really not trying to make it anything realistic, just kind of going in and playing. You can just tap in color, draw in some of the color again, play with some of your stuff here, your pencils, and water down next to them. I like the charcoal because it's really intense with the color, but the pencils are nice too. So here we had this one. You can kind of go back in with the pencil, kind of wiggle that. See? On top of that, it's still very wet, but look how much brighter that black comes out when you're doing it while it's wet. You didn't know you could do it when it's wet, did you? Now you know. And that's that. So have fun doing this. Like I said, the Patreons get the extended version, but this is pretty much the crux of it. And I hope you had fun trying to paint it. Enjoy it. Play with color. It doesn't have to be yellows and beiges and browns. It could be whatever color you want to do. Try this technique with the colors that you love, that you're feeling that day. All right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know when my tutorial's up, and don't forget to subscribe. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.